That's actually kind of funny. Say racist jokes, people love that shit? Okay. Hi, I'm Black. Spare any change?
What the fuck?
What happened?
Does the name Dankquan ring a bell? I'm sure for those who frequent Twitch TV, it might do. However, maybe not as much as the name once did. Dankquan is a Twitch live streamer, mainly streaming in the IRL section, meaning in real life, where his content would particularly shine, while on occasion he can be found streaming the odd bit of gaming content every now and again. Nowhere near as frequently as his IRL though, which is the main reason that Dankquan was known. To start with, we will cover a very brief overview of who Dankquan really is, before, later on in the video, having an in-depth look at the multiple factors that caused him to lose his prime position as one of the top new streaming prospects at that time. Detailing his fall from having a loyal, growing fan base averaging a couple thousand viewers each and every stream in his heydays, to his present day position, barely being able to scrape together an average of 50 viewers, and having been rebranded as Scamquan by this same, once loyal, community of his. So how exactly did Dankquan end up in this current position? Let's take a closer look at the beginning of the downfall. Dankquan's channel initially started growing at a very fast pace once he got his feet off of the ground, and he quickly began making a name for himself in the streaming and IRL community. A major stepping stone that led to his newfound and new growing fame was the fact that his IRL streams saw him colliding, collaborating, and interacting with Paul Danino, also known as Ice Poseidon, and various members of Ice Poseidon's streaming friends and crew that he ran with. These people who hung out with Ice were often called Andes. This network of Andy streamers who followed Ice around would later become known as the CX network, a network that Dankquan would later appear on much further down the line in his career. Through being on Paul's stream, Dankquan began to make a name for himself, and the act of collaborating and appearing on Ice's streams cemented Dankquan's place as one of the top growing streamers at that time. This was largely due to the fact that Ice Poseidon was known as the king of IRL streaming, and had one of the largest fan bases upon Twitch at that time, at least up until Ice would later become famously banned from Twitch after he was swatted at an airport. Dankquan being around Ice and appearing on his streams gave him a massive boost in popularity, and he began to cultivate a growing fan base of his own from all of the Ice and CX network viewers that now knew of him and his name. At this point in his career, after growing a small fan base, Dankquan would frequently have viral IRL streaming clips that received a lot of attention on the subreddit Livestream Fails, and he was in general known for his quirky and eccentric personality. He was great at getting into humorous situations while live and had a great deadpan humour to him, while showing little embarrassment or uncomfortableness when getting into weird or awkward IRL situations on stream.
Yo, thank you for the sub. This a robbery. Oh, what's poppin'?
Yeah.
Can I get a bite of chicken?
Yeah, they got some right.
I like your chicken now.
Dankquan's peak time as a streamer, in which he raked in the most viewers, coincided around the same time as Ice Poseidon's famous RV road trip streams, a series of action-packed 24/7 live-streamed content that involved various CX network members and other famous live-stream personalities in a hilarious and wacky road trip around America in a cramped RV, resulting in various humorous, violent, and even crazy situations that were all caught on camera. Dankquan featured in these RV streams and was one of the core cast who went on the road trips. These particular streams were a massive hit with the streaming audience and gained a large amount of viewers frequently, thus boosting Dankquan to newfound levels of fame. However, it was very shortly after these road trip streams that Dankquan's downfall really began to take place, as his viewership would slowly start to dwindle after these streams, and would never again reach the same numbers that he pulled around this particular time frame. These days, he is barely able to gain an audience of over 50 concurrent viewers, and has lost a staggering 16,000 followers over the past 180 days alone. He now receives very little online attention on both Twitch and his Twitter, and has lost the vast majority of his original fanbase. In more recent times, Dankquan can even be seen e-begging for donations, refusing to start up his stream if he does not receive an initial donation from his fans immediately after he goes live. On the flip side to this, he has also ended his stream if he does not receive donations within a certain time frame, thus immorally prompting his viewers to donate to him, or else he will close the stream down. There are three main factors that we are going to cover that are believed to have caused Dankquan's downfall to his current day position. Dankquan had a great start to his streaming career and was set to make a lot of money, a position which many people would have killed for. However, through his own actions and mistakes, it appears as though he has wasted this once-in-a-lifetime and lucky opportunity. Sometimes these streamers or internet personalities take their position for granted, and they seem to think that they are invincible or that their fame and money will stay with them forever. However, Dankquan is a perfect example of why you should never get too comfortable as an internet personality, and must always be ready for the carpet to be pulled out from under your feet. The first major reason that led to Dankquan's downfall was an incident involving the selling of branded merchandise that caused a lot of outrage and drama among his fanbase. More specifically, a text-branded hat that Dankquan had started selling to his fans and audience, which had the text "Do Nothing Club" written above it, with a picture of a palm tree on. Usually, an act like this wouldn't be an issue. A YouTuber or Twitch personality selling branded merch or clothing is a frequent occurrence, and happens regularly all the time. However, this case in particular was a little different. Although the act originally seemed innocent enough, and just appeared to be a way that Dankquan was attempting to make money, or giving something back to his fans, it was later discovered that these hats were in fact a ploy from Dankquan to milk his fanbase for money. He had earlier claimed that the design for these hats were his own original idea that he had created, and even went on to claim that he had embroidered and manufactured the hats personally himself. However, his fans exposed the fact that Dankquan was lying about all of this, and that the hats were not in fact Dankquan's at all. He had bought them in bulk off of Chinese websites such as Alibaba and Taobao and was reselling them. But to add even more insult to injury, he was also reselling them at an insane markup price of $35 plus shipping for each hat, when he himself had bought them for only $2 in bulk off of these websites. This obviously left a massively bad taste in the mouth of his fans, and saw Dankquan become widely renamed as Scamquan by his community. Many comments about this incident and Dankquan's behaviour surrounding the hats was called out upon Reddit, where people were not fond of his actions and thought of it as quite scummy and low of him, especially the fact that he pretended they were his own hats and was reselling them at such a high price. The entire Scamquan hat situation made his viewers start to see him in quite a negative light and made a lot of people turn their backs on him, resulting in a big loss of viewership for him. The second major reason that caused Dankquan to fall off was due to his ever-increasing greed. After his initial blow-up had dwindled and when his numbers started slowly falling, Dankquan has been seen making people donate to him before he will even start up his stream, asking for donations and handouts from fans before he goes live, or he would otherwise decline to stream altogether. This pissed off a lot of his fans, as it was almost like he was using them as ATMs rather than viewing them as loyal supporters who enjoyed his content. He had also on occasion had a donation train running to keep his stream going, meaning that if viewers did not constantly donate within a specific time frame, he would end the stream, thereby immorally forcing people who watched him to donate if they wanted him to continue his content and streaming. Behavior like this is extremely frowned upon in the streaming community and can have serious consequences for a streamer, making their fanbase turn away and find someone else who will respect them more than someone who just sees them as money symbols. The hat scam drama also goes to show Dankquan's greed, milking his viewers for $35 for a resold hat that he himself had bought for around $2 in bulk. That's an insane 16 times marked up price. The funny thing about all of this was Dankquan was already making decent money from his fanbase and his donations on Twitch. Although it seemed like this just wasn't enough for him, He kept pushing it and milking his viewers for every donation and bit of money he could get, which in turn ended up leaving him with hardly any viewers, and sees him today having around 50 to 100 max viewers. In the end, his shady actions and greed seem to have backfired drastically, and have only served to drive away his fans, and in turn, the steady source of income that he once had. Third, and finally, the last reason that I believe had an effect upon Dankquan's popularity was the fact that he changed his content from what the fans had initially subscribed and watched him for. He began his career as an IRL streamer, getting into mischievous, funny and odd situations out and about on the streets and around various locations in the outside world. This is what drew in the fans for him. Watching Dankquan's funny personality and reactions blend in to the crazy situations and people he would meet throughout his streams. Nowadays, we see Dankquan inside hosting frequent desktop streams and very rarely going outside to do IRL. Certain people can get away with changing their content like this while keeping their audience, but it hardly ever happens and is a very rare occurrence and very hard to do. In Dankquan's case, he was not able to do this, and I think a large reason this is the case is the fact that Dankquan is not a good gamer. He does not possess the skills that keep his audience engaged, and because of this, the swap from IRL content to gaming/desktop streams was not appreciated from his fanbase. Dankquan shines for his personality, humor, and his I don't give a fuck attitude. And it's hard for someone like that to shine when he's sitting all alone in his room at his computer every stream, especially when he has no shining game experience or knowledge. He's not an expert at any game in particular. Because of this, the drastic swap has left many unsatisfied and has seen his viewer count sharply drop. People watch Wreckful, Kriparian, Faker, Reckless, and a variety of other big gaming/desktop streamers because they possess unique gaming skills and vast game knowledge that can hardly be seen anywhere else. Hardly anybody knows the game like these people do, or are a master at their craft like these examples, and many more on Twitch. And it is how they are able to retain their audience, even through constant gaming streams and desktop streams, even repetitive games such as League of Legends. It's why their viewer base still stays to watch them, and that is the key difference. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Dankquan. His real talent lies in IRL instead of gaming and desktop streams, and I think he has forgotten this along the way. The swap has made many of the people who originally watched him for his IRL content leave because he no longer makes it. So that's just about everything that I believe caused the downfall of Dankquan. Just to clear things up, I don't have any ill feelings towards Dankquan, and I don't dislike the man. I found his content quite funny and so forth. I just wanted to make it a video because I saw his viewer count was really low, and just intrigued me to wonder why, so I kind of looked into it a little bit. Hopefully he can regain his viewership and get back to his former popularity, because again, he is a funny guy. But again, no hate's meant from this video, it's just kind of looking into the downfall of Dankquan. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Novice CS, and if you've enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. You will see content similar to this in the future, as well as other things. And if you feel generous enough, feel free to donate. Who knows, maybe if you donate enough, I can buy a $35 do-nothing hat. Just kidding, they only cost £2.